anybody that needs a test gets a test. They're there. They have the test.
That was exactly 2 months ago today at CDC headquarters when the president made that claim. It wasn't true on that day. It remains untrue as we speak tonight. And a reminder, just 2% of our population's actually been tested. And the press secretary today in the briefing room called the idea of testing everybody, quote, nonsensical. So on that note, we are happy to welcome back two returning veterans tonight. James Carville, veteran Democratic strategist who rose to national fame with the Clinton presidential campaign, co-host of the 2020 Politics War Room podcast, and Eugene Robinson, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for the Washington Post. So, James, I'm glad we caught you before you're fitting for your Kevlar COVID warrior suit. I want to read you this from Chris Majarian in the L.A. Times, and we quote, "In recent days, Trump has begun describing citizens as warriors in the battle against the pandemic and suggested some of those fighters might have to die if that will help boost the economy. The new language shows Trump appears to view people as collateral damage to salvage the economy," says Jeffrey Levy, a public health expert at George Washington University. James, is this a big part of why you're suddenly optimistic about the Democratic chances 6 months from now?
Well, I was optimistic because every election since he's been elected, we've won. Every poll, we're ahead. I mean, there's nothing but overwhelming evidence. And look what his campaign is doing. They're a pack of grifters. His campaign manager's got 2 condos, a Ferrari, a yacht, a Range Rover, and they're all just fleecing the campaign. It's just about making money, and they're going in and giving him fake polls. They're going to the White House. It was a story. I mean, this whole thing is just like a crumbling empire right before your eyes. Everybody is trying to take everything they can get on the way out, and they're trying to prop him up so they all can make money. And it's
James,
amazing as you watch this unfold.
And James, when Phil Rucker talks about when you remove the economy as something for him to run on, do you worry about what folks are going to resort to in this campaign, which we already know isn't going to look like any campaign we in the modern era have ever seen?
Well, the only thing I worry about is they mess with the right to vote. As long as there's anything close to a level playing field, I really don't care what they're going to do. They were going to lose before this hit. They're just going to lose worse now. And they all know it. And they're all getting profiles written of themselves. I saw Blaise Pascal, the campaign manager, whatever his name is, all over the New York Times Magazine, posing for pictures. I mean, this whole thing is gone. I mean, the Oracle of Orangeburg can tell you that. He's right there with me. The whole thing is just crumbling right before our very eyes.
Eugene, in addition to having the best kitchen ceiling in Louisiana, the guy does have a way with words. Eugene, you yourself wrote this week that the new normal is already here. Tell our viewers who didn't have the privilege of reading your column what you mean.
Well, look, we're set adrift by this White House, right? The White House has abdicated its responsibility to do the kind of surveillance testing and kind of real testing we need to move forward toward reopening the economy on a scientific basis, on a safe basis. They've checked out basically and said just let the states handle it, let the mayors handle it, and let individuals handle it. And so we're just all going to have to make decisions ourselves about what we consider safe, what we don't consider safe. State and local governments, some regional compacts are getting together, and they all move forward sensibly, I hope, and intelligently, at least some of them. But this is just a scandalous abdication of responsibility at a critical moment. You know, one other thing, this administration is not participating in a global effort to sort of combine to find a vaccine. Now, we're trying to find a vaccine on our own and whatever, but there are a lot of powerful nations with great scientists joining forces. The United States should be leading that international effort, but of course, this president is not capable of that sort of thing. And so, you know, they find the vaccine first. We're at the back of the line. I mean, this is absurd. I agree with everything Captain Carville said. I mean, I think he's absolutely right. We're the Democrats are in a great position going into this election.
As we go to break, I'll read this from a frequent guest of ours, Tom Nichols. He said this tonight: is the worst of all bad faith assumptions in this pandemic to assume that those of us obeying our state's restrictions and supporting the making of science-based policy are enjoying it and don't care how long it goes on. It speaks to my contention that people are indoors not because they've been ordered to, because they don't want to get this. We're going to fit in a break here. Both gentlemen have agreed to stay with us. Coming up, the role the pandemic is playing and will continue to play in presidential politics, the kind we see every day.
You see it with the stock market, where the stock market's at 24,000, and we went through the worst attack we've ever had on our country. This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this. And it should have never happened. Could have been stopped at the source. Could have been stopped in China.
And that last bit right there is part of what's become the president's daily diversion to China, as he correctly was lamenting the damage piling up in this country. And a reminder, we're 6 months out from the presidential election. New Monmouth University poll from my home county in the great state of New Jersey shows more people would prefer that person nationally to be Joe Biden than Donald Trump. 50 to 41%. Still with us, James Carville and Eugene Robinson. And James, I want to ask about your side and the notion of punching back. Should the Biden campaign be holding a daily or thrice weekly, call it a resistance briefing, call it a medical briefing? We haven't heard from the task force in over a week as it is. On days when the president suggests maybe injecting disinfectant or inserting UV light where the sun normally don't shine, should there be some reaction from the campaign? Should the Biden group be putting out ads as biting as the Lincoln group, a bunch of lapsed Republicans?
Well, first of all, I wrote a piece on NBC Think They Ought to Act Like a Pirate Ship. And let me tell you, the Lincoln group and the Bulwark, these never Trumper Republicans, the Democrats could learn a lot from them. They're mean. They fight hard. And we don't fight like that. We don't fight like that. The way that you run a presidential campaign is you're a pirate ship. You're always calculating. You're always taking wind speed and direction. You seize and you loot and you burn. And that's just the way it is. And they're ineffective. They're just riding low in the water. They're all fat. They're all rich. They're all scamming. They're all making money. And my advice is get ready and hit them, and then hit them again. Because it don't matter. If the Dow was 35,000, he's not going to win. He wasn't going to win when unemployment was 3.5%. He's certainly not going to win now. But the idea is not just to beat him. It is to end the scourge of Trumpism in this country forever. And we can do that. It's within our grasp right now. Right now, they're just fleecing this thing. All they're trying to do is make money right now. They know what's going on. Everybody knows what's happening in this country.
Eugene, a great man, once reminded a victorious presidential campaign, it's the economy, stupid. In your view, is it still the economy? And is the risk for this president a guy who has pitched himself to neighborhoods of color in this country the same way he has pitched himself to potential takers of hydroxychloroquine? What do you have to lose? Does he have to worry now that people are going to sit down and figure out exactly what it is they have to lose?
He has to worry a lot because, look, I think if the economy were roaring, if it was not, as Donald Trump claims, the best economy in the history of the United States, but even if it were, he would be in trouble in this election. He and the Republican Party would be in trouble. And polls are showing that not just nationally, but in the battleground states, in Senate races, and so I think James is right with his sort of Jack Sparrow strategy for what the Democrats ought to be doing. He's absolutely right, and I may steal some of it for a column because we can learn a lot from that Lincoln Group ad and what they've been doing. They are really good at this. I've preached for years that the Republicans are much better at this sort of punchy, emotional, hard-hitting, impactful advertising. They pare down issues to simple, simple sound bites that people can understand. Democrats have not known to do that. They like dependent clauses and rambling sentences, and they do bring in Blaise Pascal, and so they can definitely learn a lot from what the Lincoln Group is doing. This is no time to let up. This is time to put pedal to the metal, because I think the opportunity is there for a blue tsunami. I really do.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
Brian,
have what these two
Churchill
gentlemen are having. Hey, James, I'll give you 30 seconds. What do you got?
Churchill said, if Hitler invaded hell, I'd side with the devil. Thank you, all you neocons, ex-Republicans, never-Trumpers, bulwark people. Come in there and show these guys how to fight. And Democrats, get off the conference calls, get out the meeting, and go there and take it to them. But anyway, I love being on with Eugene. No patting on any idea of anybody south of the Mason-Dixon line, brother.
That's right.
Thank you both. James Carville, Eugene Robinson. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on.